Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson. This is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hello.
And tonight we will be reviewing, let me see, what's it called?
You can't remember?
Sorry.
We have a problem here.
The Phantom that was released in 1996.
Yeah, this is an Australian-American production. It's a superhero film, obviously.
Yeah, and I know you may hear me mention more than once that I'm not a big fan of some superhero movies, but there is an exception to my every rule here and there.
Yeah, I mean...
Because this one appealed to me when I was a little kid. I was like 9 when I first watched this.
And another point, too, is it hasn't been done to death.
Yes.
Now, how many... Hands up, who knows how many Superman movies or how many Batman movies have been made?
Raise your hands now.
I got no idea.
All right, that many. Understood.
Now, the point is, they made a Phantom movie. They made one Shadow movie. One Shadow?
Yeah, one Shadow.
And that other one on Doctor Strange, wasn't it, with that Cumberbatch fella?
I don't know. I haven't heard too much about that.
Yeah, that was I did one movie,
But
which is great because
so
then
you know, Mike,
no.
there was plans to make this
I
into a
know.
franchise.
I know that. I didn't
But it didn't get enough praise.
I think the wheels fell off Billy Card at the box office.
Yeah.
And so they said, well, we're not going to throw money into this again. So, yeah, that's what happened probably.
Even though Billy Zane, he plays an awesome Phantom.
Actually, we'll get into that a bit later on about Billy Zane and the Phantom and other things and stuff. But, okay, I'll do my usual bit now. This is produced by Alan Ladd Jr. and Robert Evans. Directed by Simon Windsor. Written by Jeffrey Boehm, who based it on the comic strip written by or created by Lee Falk, F-A-L-K.
Yeah, brilliant man.
Well, he's a very clever man. I mean, I think it was, I don't know if it was actually made for the newspaper and then became a comic, or the comics were made and then they used it in the newspaper, but whatever.
The first time I've ever watched read the comic, I was pretty much a little kid at the time. And it was in a comic that we got in a show bag.
Oh,
and
wait a minute.
It was given to my sister,
and I started reading it. Know what the show bag is. In Australia, we have a thing called, like an exhibition show, like a county fair type thing, every year in each state. And it's a big one. And at the show, they have show bags. And some of the show bags would have comics. Yes. And in those cheaper type of comics with all these flimsy paper, they used to make Phantom comics, Mandrake the Magician comics, and whatever. Now, that goes back to when I was a kid. Now, I'm getting pretty close to 70 now, and they're still around now, are they? Or
yeah, they are. They're still sold in newspaper stands, anywhere.
And when I was a kid, the Phantom had been around for years, so I'm just wondering how long. They may have actually made a serial out of like the Superman and Batman and the other guys.
Yeah,
and the Rocket Man and all the other stuff. I don't know. I have to go back and check that. But the Phantom's been around for a long time.
So back to what I'm talking about. I first read the book from the Phantom comic. I got it from a sort of a show bag. It was my sister's at the time, but I couldn't help but go and gander at it every so often. And it had a few short stories within the comic, and that's where I started getting a gander of the story.
Getting a taste for the
taste for the story. Yes. Without getting too drawn up like some fans who keep thinking, this is not how the character should be like, yada, yada, yada. I don't believe in that sort of thing.
Actually, that gets onto this movie here.
I'm not a purist because I prefer...
the Phantom of the comic and the Phantom of this movie are very similar. Because Billy Zane actually studied the Phantom.
Yeah, when
he studied the old comics and different things. And
I read somewhere that when he was doing an acting role, he actually was reading a Phantom comic, and he kind of really liked the comics.
Yeah. So he got a real taste for it, and he took about a year to get in condition to make his body really, really fit, so he could look like the Phantom. So when you got your leotards on, your skin tights, he didn't have love handles or anything.
Yeah,
he
there
looked pretty
was
damn good.
thought at the time they were going to make him a special body plaster, made of either maybe fiberglass to put
Yeah.
over his body
To make it
but
look like,
make him look a little bit more pudgy, more masculine.
Muscly. Yeah, give him some
But
abs where he didn't have
thanks to his dedication at the gym, he was able to
Make his own.
body
See,
look
he's got a
appeal.
six-pack, I've got a keg.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so moving on, let's talk about
Wait a minute,
who
I've
stars in this
No,
production.
no. Now, we're talking about the reason it didn't do a sequel. This is probably part of it. The budget for this film was $45 million. The box office only gleaned about 23 million. They probably said, we don't lose any more money, so let's call the day on this superhero and move on to another project.
Oh boy.
But the problem is, since then, it's became, well, to a certain degree, a cult movie, and it's probably made more movie after the theatrical release.
Yeah,
it's probably made more money on DVD.
It's practically
and,
being more and more liked, and and I heard that Billy Zane went to the Supernova, and he's praised for playing the Phantom.
Look, we think it's a good movie. Look, let's face it. I mean, not every movie is going to be a blockbuster. Okay? We know this.
We know this.
However, this is a good movie. And even the critics liked it. It just didn't make a really good box office. I don't know why. Maybe it's that they were looking for a tad more action. Maybe they cut a few scenes out of it. It shouldn't be there. Maybe they didn't know whether to make it funny or serious. I really don't know. I can't put my finger on it.
I don't know either. I'm at a loss with this movie because it's so damn good, and
good, yeah.
and there's nothing to pick at it.
But they try to stay true to the comic, and that could be one of the reasons why. Because this was a movie being made in the 1990s, trying to emulate the 1940s, 1950s?
Yeah, 1938.
1938 when the film was out. So trying to capture that feeling probably may have gone against it in some ways, and trying to emulate the comic as well. Don't know, not sure.
Don't
we
care.
like it. We don't know why the other people didn't like it.
I don't know.
So,
I've been doing a bit of reading, and I read about Diana and the 21st Phantom that she's associates
Billy
with.
Zane's the 21st
and
Phantom.
they met in 1977 instead of 1938 or whatever.
Oh, the new movie.
Yeah, in the movie it was 1938, but in the book comics when the characters met, they were in the 70s.
Were they?
Trust me, I've been reading.
Okay.
And I guess that's why fans either...
They got a bit confused.
They got confused,
maybe.
maybe. I don't know. I mean, I didn't really look into the numbers because, to be honest, I don't really... I don't follow numbers. I follow the story.
Yeah, but actually, talking about the story, before we go into the cast, the guy actually put the screenplay together, Jeffrey Boehm. He loosely based it on 3 Phantom stories, the Sing Brotherhood, the Sky Band, and the Belt. And he put those together, those ideas out of the 3 stories, and used those as a basis for this screenplay.
Quite good.
So there you go then.
Yeah, so moving on. So who stars in it other than Billy Zane?
Well, here we go, guys. There's lots and lots of really good people in it. Okay. Now, Billy Zane, obviously, we've been talking about him. He plays the Phantom. Kit Walker, the Ghost Who Walks, you name it, he's it, you know. Now, Treat Williams plays his... the evil guy in the movie, Xander Drax. What a name! Oh yes, we won't go into too much about it because Sarah will tell you about that in a moment. Now, Christy Swanson plays Diana Palmer, and she's a rather attractive lass, and she's a bit. I wouldn't say a tomboy, but she's not a girly girl who's going to be, hey, look at me. She's actually out there, and I think Diana in the comics was a bit like that. And she really covered it really good.
Yeah, Christine Swan. She was also Christy Swan. She also played in the movie Buffy the Vampire Slayer too.
Oh, did she? Christy Swanson?
Too,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
So.
Anyway, Catherine Zeta-Jones plays Sala. Now, I thought Sal was a big fat guy. And then
No,
okay, sorry.
S-A-L-A, not Sala as in S-A-L-E-M. Not.
Hey, it wasn't Sale.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
A-H.
A-H, sorry,
Yeah,
I forgot my
You
spelling.
can't smell. I smell. Okay, now.
Anyway,
But as he plays the assistant to Xander, Drax, one of his cohorts, whatever.
yeah, and she's sort of one of the pilots in this one.
And a pilot, yeah, a bit like Pussy Galore in Goldfinger.
Only a lot more attractive.
Yeah.
Although both women are attractive.
Oh yeah, in different ways. But I happen to like Catherine Zeta-Jones. I got to think about her.
Don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not being
Okay.
lesbian or. I'm just saying
look,
I like
just move on.
eye candy in movies.
No, you need eye candy, and she's really good eye candy. Actually, both of them, Christy and Catherine Zeta-Jones, are both good-looking women, and I think that's good casting for the eye candy. As is Billy Zane. He's a rather good-looking guy, and Treat Williams isn't that bad-looking either, I suppose. As the evil guy. Yeah. Now, moving right along, James Remar plays one of the henchmen who works for Xander, Drax. Now, he's been in things like Mortal Kombat, and was he in Buffy the Vampire Slayer? No, Sex and the City?
Yes.
Yeah, he played one of Samantha's boyfriends or something or other. Yeah.
Hopefully.
And that sort of stuff. Paddy McGowan, now he's been around a long time. He plays a ghost, the ghost of the Phantom 20. And he sometimes appears to talk to kids, say, hey, you got a problem here, and give them a bit of advice.
Yeah, that I don't think was never in the comics, I don't think.
It wasn't in the comic. It was brought into the movie.
It was just brought in as a bit of a...
Get a life.
A get a life or type... or it's... Well, you will soon see what I'm talking about.
Anyway, irrespective. Now, I'm going to only mention one other person. Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa. That's a mouthful. The great Kabai Singh. Now, he plays another bad guy. He's a head of a pirate group. Not pirate band. Pirates like in, give me that arf. Yeah, one of those guys. Now, he's been in, Mortal Kombat, Rising Sun, a whole slew of movies over the years.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know who the hell he is. Honestly, because I know that face. And,
Yeah, I mean, he's got that, I got some awesome look.
He got a look about him, and he got an acting style about him. He's really, really good value. He plays a good bad guy or a good guy who's not as good as he could be. He plays those roles.
I think he was
really
in
good.
even one of the James Bond movies, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think he was in something like that, James Bond one or something like that one.
I'm trying to think.
But he's been around. He's got a whole slew of movies. And look at his filmography. He's really been out there doing a lot of movies and TV shows and short movies, and he's been around a lot. So he's to me I don't think he's a main star type character, but he's a damn good co-star.
Yeah, shall we move on to talk about the movie itself?
I'm finished. I think I'm about finished with the cast. So stop chewing on my coat and saying, "Oh, please, please, please."
Yes.
You may get in there and tell the story.
The story opens on some words that say, in case you just walked in or something like that. And we then cut to the scene of back in the 1600s or something. And a small boy watches his dad being murdered by the pirates of
the Sang Brotherhood. They're pirates, and they're attacking an old sailing ship which his father's on, and everyone, I think, apart from the young boy, survives.
Yeah, so the boy jumps overboard and washes ashore on the
Bangalla coast, where some friendly natives pick him up and say, "Oh, there, that little chappy."
Yeah, they take him to a special ceremony, and where the head high priest gives him a special ring that has some great value that will portray for him in the years to come. And
it's got a skull on it.
And when the boy gets into manhood, he then swears that he's going to fight for piracy, greed, and cruelty.
Fight against all the evils of the world and stuff,
So he then becomes the Phantom. And then we fast forward to 1938.
Present day, then.
Yes, then. And Quill, the evil bad guy, and his henchmen are heading into the jungles of Bangalla to find a very rare artifact.
A skull made it. Is that one gold or silver? I can't remember.
Silver.
Silver skull, yeah.
Say.
With really shiny eyes.
blue diamonds or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, blue sapphires or something or other.
Yeah, so moving on. They head across the bridge. They're led by a small native boy, obviously.
Who seems to know the way around.
Yeah, and they get a little bit mixed up with the map. Saying
James Reamer had the map upside down, and little boy was trying to tell him, "You're going the wrong way." He said, "The bridge is back that way."
Well, he says turn the map the other way.
You turn around. What do you mean turn around? You mean turn the map around, is it?
Yeah, they eventually come to the bridge, and it's one of those bridges that if you walk on it, you'll end up
remember
falling.
the one in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, was it? And they had to walk across a rope bridge. Well, this was like that, a bit bigger, can take a motor vehicle or a wagon or something. I personally wouldn't, because it looked like it wasn't in a really good state of repair.
Yeah, and not to mention there's a sign that says, "Danger, do not cross it," or something like that.
You might fall down and hurt yourself. Yeah.
So they kind of draw straws, and they let the little boy drive the truck across.
It's really funny. I can't imagine his feet actually reaching the pedals.
Me neither.
It'd be like Short Round. He had blocks of wood on his feet, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Anyway, the little kid drives across, and by the time he gets to the other end, he kind of puts the pedal to the metal and drives
almost
a little
runs
fast.
over them, but he does stop it. I think he's getting a bit of, hey, I can take care of myself, boys.
Yeah,
he didn't.
They eventually arrive at the.
No, wait a minute. They lock him. They tie him up and fry him back at the truck.
Yeah, after he refuses to go any further because there is a man guarding the woods. That's a ghost.
Yeah, and some of the guys said, let's kill the kid. No, we might need to drive the vehicle back across the bridge again. Yeah, okay.
So they tie him and leave him in the truck.
Yes, so he's stuck there in the back.
Yeah, while while Quill and his men, they head inside some caves of sort. Yes, and where they see some artifacts and a few dead skulls and stuff like that. Not necessarily related to the silver skull or anything. They one of the men finds an old skeleton of that's probably the same priest guy.
An old priest or something.
Yeah, and he underneath him they find the silver skull.
Yay.
And he hands it to his colleague Quill, and while he's doing that, the skeleton comes to life and tries to strangle him.
And he does a very good job at it too. Not bad for a skeleton.
Yes, and Quill tries to use his gun to shoot him, but eventually his friend dies. How do you
shoot a skeleton? Boy, these people need to read some books. If once you're dead, you can't get killed again.
Yeah, eventually. I often think that the silver skull had a hand in it.
Or a leg.
Because something there, like its eyes started shimmering.
Yeah, I think
that could indicate that maybe the soul of the priest may have came back to life because of the skull.
Yes, possibly. You never know.
Anyway, so his other henchmen say, "There's some other good loot here. Let's go steal all the stuff."
Yeah, well, take it all. Yeah, get a bit of extra money for the job.
And then we hear drum, 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 meaning drum noises, and the henchmen, they ignore it, but someone else is not ignoring it.
A bit of jungle telegraph going on here.
And we soon move in onto the Phantom in his lair, and he and his dog, Devil, hear it, and they know they're needed.
He's a nice puppy.
Yeah, he soon gets on his horse and heads on to the scene.
You remember Hero, his horse? Yes. What a nice.
Some people often call the horse a different name, but I always call it Hero.
I think it was Hero in the comics. I can't remember. It was. Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. So, anyway,
was it silver?
So the evil bad guys, they run through the woods, and then they see the Phantom in his leotards, and as he charges after them with his gun raised. And when he gets one of them down on the ground, the devil is there prowling and going grrr. And there, Billy Zane says, "Watch him, devil. If he moves, eat him." Like, if he moves, kill him. But this is a lot more funnier.
I don't think the dog would have eaten him. I mean, he's a wolf. He looked well fed to me. Why would you eat him? Yeah.
Soon enough, the two other henchmen, they head into the car. The truck. Sorry, I keep referring it to a car. Sorry.
An old truck.
So they head into the truck, and Quill goes on about how he killed this man years ago.
And he's still hanging around.
Yeah. Earlier, we do notice on his cheek.
Yeah, Quill's got
he's got a mark on his cheek
from an old wound.
From the previous Phantom punching him.
Yeah, he just blow his eye where the bone is, and
Yeah.
and it's made the ring made a permanent impression there.
Yeah, throughout the
Scar.
comic scenes, you notice that the Phantom does punch with that hand and ends up scarring that very person.
I'm wondering why it believes a permanent mark. I'm wondering why. Always.
Don't know.
Well, I could punch the crap out of you right now. Apart from a bit of cuts and bruises and stuff, you wouldn't have permanent marks all over you.
I don't know. But there is a mystical thing about this ring.
Maybe it's a magical ring, you see, yes.
I'm not going to tell you guys just yet. So, moving
Billy
along.
Zane's got a nice ring. There you go.
Yeah, so he eventually jumps onto their truck and he tries to, get them to get out of there. But thanks to that, he eventually gets the other guy, into the bushes, and Quill escapes with the skull and makes his escape. While dear old the Phantom tries to save the little boy in the back and gets them to safety.
Well, it is on the bridge there. The bridge starts to collapse because the way a bit like Indiana Jones, where the bridge collapsed, well, same sort of thing. And then the Phantom saves the boy by cutting one of the vines and swinging to safety on the other bank.
I gotta admit though, I do like the music in this movie. It's really breathtaking.
No, wrong
not
one.
like that.
No,
I do think it's really breathtaking. Who does the music? I think.
Is it something Newman?
Yeah, something Newman.
It wasn't Alfred Newman. It was another one. Could be Sun, maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, I do think the
Alfred
music is
Newman.
very
No. Mad Magazine. No, wrong guy.
Anyway, moving right along. Soon enough, later of that day, the Phantom is, well, not really. I'm not gonna. I mean, the henchmen, some of the not except Quill, arrive at the jungle patrol unit or whatever, and they're going to be escorted to jail or something.
Yeah, they've been arrested.
Because that's what these patrol guys do. If anyone's doing some illegal stealing.
Well, you've seen the old Tarzan movies and stuff. They had ranger type guys and police.
And one of the guys there, who's the head guy, who listens to the statement, said there was a strange thing on a horse and a wolf. And he pretends to play dummy in this scene.
Yeah, he said there's no such thing. It's just folklore. Yeah.
But in reality,
he knows
all about the Phantom.
Because the Phantom sees him after hours and pops in the back way and sneaks in.
Yeah, because I guess it would not really be good if he interfered with the Phantom's activities.
His idea is if he doesn't believe in or pretends not to believe in it in front of his men, no one's going to be talking about the Phantom this and the Phantom that. So no, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Get on with your lives, get on with your job.
And here we hear that they say the Phantom lives for thousands of years.
He's immortal. He's immortal. He's supposedly been alive for hundreds and hundreds of years. Yes. You can't kill him.
And we'll get more to that later on. So we get back to the skeleton cave, and Phantom's getting treated by his servant.
It's a skull cave, not a skeleton cave.
A skull cave. And he's treated by his servant. What's his name?
I don't know. Well, I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So sorry. He then looks up in a very old book about the skulls of Trugandi, I think it was. Is that right? I'm trying to figure out how to say the word. The skulls of Trugandi. I'm not sure. What's it say there?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Just say the skulls. Yeah.
All right. So one of them is made of silver, which we talked about, and one is made of jade, and the other one is gold. And they are practically not just valuable, but they're very dangerous. In the wrong hands, they could destroy, the world.
Well, look, the mythology behind it. There's 3 skulls, and if the 3 skulls are brought together, it releases a great power of some description. No one actually says what the power is. No one really knows what it is.
See, the Trugandi, they were possession of the skulls for many years, but then one day the pirates attacked their village, and somehow all 3 skulls got separated.
Okay.
And so, eventually, while they're in the scene, I'm going to say Kit because in this scene he's Kit in this scene.
Yeah, he's now Kit.
Yes.
Mr. Walker, whatever.
Yes. So, Kit is approached by his ghostly father, who tells him about how things were when he was around, and how he used to come down here because he knew he screwed up and he needed advice or a bit of interesting information.
I wish my dad would come back and fix the car occasionally.
Yeah. Anyway, then the kid tells him about how he lost these. He let the silver skull slip out of his hands, and then his father says, "If that's the case, you know what will happen if these?" And he then lets loose that the guy Quill has a sort of spider tattoo on his arm, which indicates the Pirates Brotherhood.
Yeah, but there's what it called? Yeah, Sing Brotherhood. Yeah.
Yeah, and this upsets his father and says, if these guys get in control of the Free Skulls, you know what will happen?
We're stuffed.
Yes, exactly.
The world is
and he
stuffed.
says
Yeah,
it's
power.
up, and he says it's up to you to fix this. And of course, he vanishes like a puff of smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good old dad.
Later on, that probably in America somewhere, in a mansion, Diana Palmer, the beautiful intrepid traveler and beautiful lady.
She keeps traveling around the world, different places and stuff. Yeah.
And she comes home. Her mother's having a party. One of those charity ball things, whatever you call them, and
A fundraiser or something. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah.
and her uncle is there, doing things. And of course, the other person I would like to mention in this scene is Xander Drax, who is one of the donators, and according to Diana's uncle, that he wants her mother to return the check.
Because Xander is known to be associated with criminal elements in the city.
Yeah, like mafia groups and stuff
whatever.
like that.
Yeah. Like a mob boss, but a boss of bosses type thing. Yeah.
He's not really a nice man. He could probably buy anyone. Speaking of buy, he kind of bought the head police officer.
Yeah, and he threatened to buy the newspaper.
Eventually, Diana, when in the scene, she meets up with her old, no, I won't say love interest, more like a love clinger on.
Well, no, a guy who is keen on her, but she's not totally keen on him.
He's a sort of one of those.
A would-be suitor.
He's a wealthy, I imagine, guy that her mother thinks will be a good suitor, and he's
a rich kid, a rich guy, no motive, plenty of money. He's a wastrel. How's that?
Yes, born with a silver spoon, if that makes it any more clear.
Oh, yeah, silver shovel his mouth, a big spoon. Yeah.
And I like it when in one scene he tries to brag that if he would have wasted no moments to come to her tents in Africa and
she said, "Why didn't you?" Well, I got other things to do.
And when she was making a sandwich, she remarks that he asks, "What's in the sandwich?" And he says, "Bologna," and it's a double meaning there.
Yeah, so it's sitting like you're full of,
bologna. Yeah, as I said, bologna.
If it looks like and it smells like, it probably is. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Anyway, she meets up with her uncle and the police chief and who else? I'm not sure.
Whatever.
And he tells them about how that he knows Xandrax is up to no good, and it has something to do with the symbol that's on these.
Little spiderwebby type.
Yeah.
The
tattoo, same Brotherhood one we mentioned.
Kit recognises it.
Well, this comes much later.
Later
on.
Sorry, he reports to the police car.
So later on, he's told that he must go to the Bangalla jungle to show this to the captain.
Captain or inspector or whatever he's over there.
Of the jungle patrol guys.
Yeah.
And he thinks he might know what the symbol means, but the guys in the room tell him that you might get hurt. You may get. It's not a really good place for an old man like you to go, and Diane agrees with him, and she says, "I'm going." And
you'd be better off here, Dad, taking care of things at home, and I'll go there.
Not Dad, her uncle.
Uncle,
Yes, so she goes on a plane, and meanwhile, while this is happening, the police chief reports in his findings.
Yeah, he's on the take, so he tells Drax what's going on.
Yeah, it's practically like those prohibition
period.
Yeah, the day where the police were not to be trusted, and they just left it to the criminal element to do what they want.
It's a prohibition. You don't know too much about. I'm not saying just America. I mean, all through the ages in all countries, I'm sure there's been an element of criminal activity sneaking into the law enforcement side of things, the police and other guys, and some people are reasonably bought off, and some people aren't. So it just So
Yes.
don't pick on America and the prohibition, okay?
Good point, Mike. So, anyway, moving back along. So Diana gets on a plane and she heads off to the Bangalla and all that stuff. And while she's heading up that way, Xander Drax, he gets his librarian guy to come in for a sort of chat. And it was more of a chat. It was more of a to briefly interrogate him whether or not he's been dishing out information to the newspapers about his activities.
No. Well, maybe. Yeah.
And eventually he shows him something under a magnifying scope, whatever.
What?
Magnifying scope, whatever thing, the
a microscope.
Microscope. And as he's turning the dials,
to adjust the focus.
And he gets stabbed in the eyes.
Yeah, two little blades come straight up into his eyeballs and take his eyeballs
This puts me in mind of some old tribal things where they often say if you're caught lying to a tribal person or a pirate, you get your eyes gouged.
No.
And that's what I read anyway. I don't believe everything I read. Like some people. So moving back along. So Diana is soon on a plane. She's heading off to the jungle, but then it gets attacked by some hijacked by some other planes too.
Yeah, a few airplanes working for Mr. Drax.
Yeah. And Sala is among them, and her and her pilots arrive, and they attempt to kill all of everyone if Diana Palmer doesn't step forward.
And she says, "I'm Diana." Well, that didn't take long, did it?
She then sees Sala, and she's a beautiful lady, very pretty, and she gives her a slap in her face.
Slap.
Anyway,
fight.
Shut up.
Sorry.
And then later on at the police patrol group, whatever, the Phantom arrives there. He overheard on the radio earlier of a plane being sort of hijacked, and it was heading over to the Bangalla. And he then hears that from the captain guy that Diana Palmer is among the not there.
She was taken hostage.
And she had information for him that she wanted to pass on to him. So it was up to the Phantom to go and try to save her. And she's not too far away. She's on a boat, and Quill and Sala have placed her in a cabin somewhere. I'm not sure where.
Downstairs.
And they wish to interrogate her and she kept the information, like the little piece of parchment in her boot.
Or paper, whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
An envelope, whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, good place to hide it.
Yeah. Soon enough,
might get a bit smelly though. My feet smell when I put on boots.
So moving right along,
sorry.
people. So the Phantom and the devil and his dog Devil head onto the ship. The dog heading in the front entrance while he's crawling in like a rat.
The Phantom crawls up the rope, the mooring line on the boat, and Devil just sneaks up the plane. You walk in. Who's going to know? It's a wolf going on for a boat. Surely happens every day,
Yeah, well, Devil's a tame dog.
He's a lovely puppy. He's beautiful. I wish I had one.
Yeah, shame we can't have raised wolves. Oh wait, you can. They're huskies, you can.
Well, they're close to a wolf, but but they're cute. They're so gorgeous.
Yeah. So moving right along.
Yeah,
Sala once starts out pestering Diana for her shoe size, and she eventually pulls off one of the shoes, which happens to have the little note inside.
Yeah.
And she, remarks about how this is my size.
Yeah, these boots are my size. Oh, yes, right. Park Avenue, whatever it is, it says about where they came from.
Yeah, Fifth Avenue, New York City, yada yada.
Oh, yeah,
expensive
stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, the Phantom cruises around the cabins, and eventually he knocks open one of them, and it turns out to be the woman's bathroom.
Whoops. Oh, so yeah, having showers and stuff. Not bathroom, bathroom, yeah.
Shower, bathroom.
Shower room, whatever. Sorry, ladies. A little bit of humour thrown in there, folks.
Anyway, he then jumps down a laundry chute, I think. I'm not sure.
It looks like a laundry chute or, something, yeah.
Yeah.
And where do you show up? Right in front of Diana and Bugger like Sala.
And he says, "What is this, a ship full of women?" Joke.
Yeah, a bit of tongue-in-cheek stuff going on.
He then tells Diana that he's a good Samaritan, and
I'm here to save you.
And Sala wants to says, "I bet you're better than good," in a sexy way.
Yeah, see there's
And
a few sexual undertones.
yeah, and then the Phantom, with his strong hand, says, "There's an old jungle saying, whenever you point a gun at someone, it just might go off." And he grabs it really super fast.
Yes, Superman would have been real proud of him.
And she says, "Ooh, fast hands. I like that in a man." And then she grabs him in and kisses him. And wow, I do think that was a very nice.
I can do that. I can act. I can do that.
No, you can't.
Catherine Zeta-Jones, you betcha.
Yeah, anyway, he then asks Diana to tie her up, but Diana just punches her.
Yeah, she is.
Returning the favour, if you will.
Yeah.
She then gets the
you
note back.
You abducted me, I punch you in the nose.
Yeah, she then gets her shoe and her note back, and she doesn't trust the Phantom one bit.
Well, I've never met him before.
Who doesn't? Because
she thought.
Who doesn't go around wearing tights at this time of the year?
Robin Hood, he wears tights.
Well,
Superman wears tights.
And bear in mind,
Batman wears tights.
Shut up.
The Flash
Shut up. Another word out of you and I'll kill it.
The Flash wears tights.
So, moving along, he's wearing a mask anyway, so anyone wearing a mask could be a criminal.
Yes.
Anyway, he suggests that they should stick together, but Diana's all for, "I'm on my own and I don't care if you follow me."
Girl power, folks, even back in those days.
Yeah, and even Phantom says she hasn't changed a bit, meaning he knew her in a previous, existence.
He knows her, but she doesn't know who the man is behind the mask.
Yeah. Eventually, they get tackled by Quill and his men, who find out that the Phantom is on the boat and all that stuff, and he wants to, start continuing pounding him like he did last time.
Yeah, beat him up, stuff, kill him. Yeah,
saying that
again.
Yeah, eventually the wolf devil arrives and starts ripping at the men. Well, not really ripping. He doesn't kill them or anything. But the Phantom does give them a whack to the face, whack to the other.
And Diana helps, doesn't she?
Yeah, she gives him a kick gives one of them a kick in the balls.
Gives Diana gets him right in the family jewels. I don't want to say. Gonads, whatever.
Balls, then.
Balls will do. Whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, she comments on the wolf and she says, "That dog is a wolf." And the Phantom says, "I know. Duh."
It's his puppy.
Yeah. Anyway, they jump onto the seaplane, a red seaplane that's attached to the boat.
Hey, when Red Baron borrowed one of those.
Beats me. And they head off into the to the jungle while Wolf watches Quill, and eventually Quill tries to get his men together, and they take their truck down and follow the Phantom and Diana.
And they do a good job of it.
And while Wolf heads back to...
His name's not Wolf, his name's...
I mean, not Wolf, sorry. Devil heads off to find Hero, the horse, and tells him, "Your master needs you." Well, not in those words, but you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, Hero then heads off, and Devil follows him. Anyway, so
running through the forest.
Yeah, and all the time they're trying to shoot and at them, but miss a couple of times, and eventually they end up shooting into the gasoline from the plane.
Yeah, they were shooting the plane and made a few holes in the gas tank. Yeah.
Yeah. Eventually, they then have to jump off the plane and get onto to Hero, the horse. Anyway, but the bad guys are still trailing behind, and a couple of times they miss, and Quill complains, "What's the matter with you? Can't you aim properly?" Yada yada.
Bouncing around on those roads
he
through the jungle.
eventually kicks the door open where one of his assailants are shooting.
One of his assistants.
Shooting, and knocks him down. And he tries to shoot, but misses a couple times.
He can't do
and
it
eventually,
either.
I don't even know who was driving, because he's the one driving, and I don't know if anyone else was driving.
I was on automatic.
Yes. Anyway, he and his assailant just charge into a log and fall over.
Yeah.
And the two other remaining his associates are on horseback.
Horseback, yes.
And they start following, and thanks to a few of the Phantom's friends.
Yeah, the rope people. What are rope people you call them?
Yeah.
The rope people. Yeah, the guys that live up in the trees.
Yeah.
Yes.
They then use some ropes and kind of
sort of lasso them, sort of.
They soothed them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so the bad
but
guys.
in a funny way, it was more like a snare, I suppose. And when they went through it, they dragged off the horses, and the natives jumped off the tree, holding the rope, and hoisted the naughty guys up into the tree branches and smacked their heads against the tree branch.
Oh man, that was great.
Not a bad.
And then we get to see the Phantom and Diana. They head off down to his skull cave, and where the Phantom presents Diana with a beautiful set of, beautiful
Black pearls, wasn't
black
it?
pearl necklace,
Yeah.
which I think was beautiful.
I wouldn't mind giving her a pearl necklace.
Shut up.
What?
So
What?
yeah, as a token of the occasion, and for her to remember him by and all that stuff. Eventually, the captain arrives along with the Phantom servant. And they discuss things, and as the captain's trying to light his pipe, the servant guy says, "You're smoking in the skull cave."
Yeah, no smoking in the skull cave.
No smoke. So
okay.
he takes his pipe and just throws the
Aims it in the fireplace. Yeah. Okay, well.
And Diana then presents her the little script, little parchment to him, and he then looks at it, and then he presents it to the Phantom, and they knew what it means. They say it's a special part of the same Brotherhood guys, and that then the Phantom suggests that him and his men should, arrange some security for her, because she needs to be, she
Needs to be protected.
yeah, but she says that she's came over here for a job to do, and that's what she's come to do. But the Phantom doesn't hear it, and according to the captain, he says no one in the jungle has ever argued with the Phantom and wins.
No.
Old jungle saying.
Old jungle saying. Anyway, moving right along.
Back in New York, dear Drax is presented with a beautiful silver skull.
And some state lives.
Yes.
No, whatever.
And Sala remarks that she used a bit of toothpaste on it to clean it up. And it's a bit of funny when that's in that thing.
Yeah,
and anyway, moving right along.
Like I said, a lot of tongue-in-cheek
He
stuff.
then gets he's quite in the good mood, but then he sees in the newspaper an article that says, editor's niece kidnapped escapes.
Yeah.
And he's
wasn't overly happy, but he wasn't terribly upset either.
Yeah.
Sort of,
And this is where, in this scene, Quill talks about the Phantom and how he killed him once before, years ago. And he shows him as a bit of a trophy the gun belt that belonged to that Phantom.
Yeah, and where he stabbed it straight through, and he said, stabbed him through the back, did we?
Yeah. He stabbed him right to the hilt.
Yeah.
Meaning that's...
Yeah, he had the full knife inside, and so it would have been 8 inches worth of cold steel inside Phantom 20.
Yes, anyway.
Moving right along.
But this doesn't disturb Drax. He thinks, no big deal. The Phantom's 5 million yards away. He's not going to
5 million miles, whatever. Yeah,
but
exaggeration.
It's exaggeration. As it turns out, the Phantom is only one street away.
He's around the corner.
Yes. And, of course, he's dressed in modern attire.
I wouldn't recognise him.
Yeah, even though you probably would have seen him in comics wearing a top hat and
a trench coat
and nice glasses.
Yeah. He didn't have his puppy with him, though.
Of course not. Who would? I mean, it would be very disturbing having a wolf around.
Yeah, I suppose. Could have a seeing eye wolf, maybe?
No. Eventually, he gets out of a taxi and he pays them in opals.
No. He had a handful of gemstones. He said, "Oh, what's that?" Oh, he just gave him a handful of gemstones. Says, "They're all real. That'd probably pay that and secure your services for the rest of the day."
And he says, "You got to be joking." And he says, "I never joke or never kid."
And when the family goes to the building, and while he's in there doing his business, the taxi driver went to the local jeweler shop and found out they were real.
Yeah, who knows? Whoa. Maybe later on, once he gets the money for those opals, he might buy the taxi company. For all I know.
A lot of jewelry, jewels,
Yes,
gemstones. Yeah.
moving right along.
Yeah,
Drax is telling his associates about the rest of the skulls they had to collect, and one of his associates, who was probably one of the mob bosses, he keeps saying, "You only had the one," but Drax has already got that planned. He knows where the second skull is.
Yes.
And and his associate says, "Get bent. I'm not going to have any associations
I
with
don't like
this."
it's all supernatural mumbo jumbo stuff. He
Yeah.
wants to leave the room.
And he thinks that this stuff is a load of baloney.
And he wants his
He
brother
wants his
or
brother to
come with him.
but his brother says, "You're on your own."
Yeah, I'm staying here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Eventually, Drax takes a spear off the wall and plunges it into the
he's
young
very
man.
good at it. He's very good at it.
Yeah, killing him instantly.
And didn't damage the spear at all.
Yeah,
No.
and this is where he then tells the policeman tells him, maybe you should wait tonight to get the skull. But
It's at the local museum,
it's
isn't
a
it?
local museum.
of World History.
Yeah.
In the
And-
foyer.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but Drax can't wait this long, so he then takes the spear out of the wall with the man attached and says, "Let your policeman not interfere with what I'm doing."
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
But anyway, the Phantom is already going to the museum
Yes.
with Diana.
Yeah. Before we get to that, Diana comes to the editors to the newspaper place, and where she meets Kit for the first time and her not so clingy love interest, the other guy I mentioned earlier, the
Yep.
creep, who keeps going pestering her, saying he's
Yep.
came just to take her out for wine, dinner and dancing, yada yada.
Yeah,
But she
yeah.
says rain check, yada yada, and it's
Another
like,
one.
yes. Anyway,
Moving on, long this is dragging
Yeah,
on, okay?
sorry.
And he went to the
So-
toilet. Then he had a cigarette.
Shut
and
up. So, then her uncle tells her that I have a big surprise for you, and she enters and meets Kit, and it's obviously that they then talk about old times, like they were in college together, yada yada, and
yada.
it's pretty obvious there
Oh,
was
yeah.
a bit of tension there. Well, not so much tension.
No, she was annoyed that he dropped out of sight. Mm-hmm. They did explain that his father had passed away suddenly. He had to take over the family business.
Yeah, and then eventually the her uncle talks about how that Drax is now looking for an ancient silver skull. I mean, a skull of sorts, and this is where we reveal some not so baloney information from Diana's clingy guy friend.
He remembers seeing a skull like that at the local museum
Yeah.
of world history.
Yeah. And
So now they get in the cab and go to the museum.
yeah, and that's where
These people are waiting for the end of the story. Okay.
Yeah, they arrive there, and as it turns out, the display, even Kit notices that this is not the right historic
Yeah,
accuracy.
the person who put the display together, the diorama or whatever you want to call it, had wrong artifacts put together in one of the displays.
Yeah, and Dinah asks why Kit is interested in these skulls, and he says he represents the true owners, and he thinks that Drax should not have them.
Yeah, and she's saying, well, might be I have word to the museum administrator, and while
But
he's still doing that,
She's just talking about it. Kit takes the
a bollard or something rather, and picks it up, smashes it through the window, and grabs it.
Yeah, and Diana says, "Oh, we could just smash the glass."
Yeah, that'll do it.
And
And just behind him, in walks Drax, says thank you very much, and acting like he owns the place. So, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
Everything under control.
Yeah.
Sounds is in so and so in the other area, and
Yeah.
several people out of the room.
Yeah, and this is where the skulls start acting funny. They start predicting the next location.
There's two skulls together.
See, that's the one
Yeah.
thing that's interesting. See, once you get the two skulls,
They'll show you where the
they'll
third
show
one-
you where
yeah.
the third one
And
is.
it has like a laser pointer, goes up onto its map on the wall, and he says, and he had, look, that's a so-and-so island, or a location where there could be an island.
Leaves a very big dirty mark.
A burn hole.
Burn hole. I hate to see what the janitor's going to think.
Janitor's going to be freaking. The mess, broken glass and burnt maps and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Moving
moving
along.
right along. They
So
go to the island for holiday.
No, they don't. And anyway, they head back to Drax's car, and they head off. And the taxi driver we mentioned, he starts tailing them, right? Didn't he? He tail?
Yes, that's it. He follows them because he knows the guy
Something's
who
wrong.
paid him a shitload of money is in there. He does. He might get some more money later on. Yep.
Yeah, or something, or he knows something's wrong. I think he's a nice
Yes.
guy. I mean,
No, he is. And money makes lots of friends.
yes. They eventually arrive at Drax's office, and he asks Kit why he is interested in these skulls. And Kit says, "I thought they would look well on my drapes."
And we go, well, my drapes. Yeah.
And of course, he signals Quill to take out some knuckles and give Kit a knuckle sandwich.
I prefer a cucumber sandwich myself. But anyway.
And this is where Kit notices his dad's gun belt
Yeah,
on
cool. Where it?
Quill's wearing it as a souvenir of his killing the previous Phantom.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Not a good move.
yeah. Anyway, they then say. Then Drax says, "Take Kit Walker to upstairs to make him talk."
Yeah, up top to the lookout or something or other and have a chat to him or something or other.
Yeah, probably didn't throw him off.
I think they'll throw him off the building. But
Me too.
However, they didn't quite get that far.
Yeah, dear old Kit was able to knock them out and
blah,
head
blah, blah,
into
blah.
the elevator shaft.
Oh, he popped in the room. He put his Phantom clothes on first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot like
Superman.
Superman, only not Superman.
Actually, remember the time Daffy Duck did that? And he went into the room, came out dressed as a witch accidentally. Oh,
Yeah.
wrong costume. And went back in again.
Yeah, it was funny. Exactly.
Sorry.
So while this is happening, Drax is trying to implicate the exact location of where the skull was, where the third skull is.
He figured it out.
Yes, it
Sort
turns
of, a
out
bit.
to be the Devil's Vortex. I don't know if that's anything to do with similar to the Bermuda Triangle.
Who knows?
or
We do not
anything
know.
like
But anyway,
that.
irrespective.
Everyone's.
Oh, I keep saying that again. Oh, so I'll stop saying irrespective.
But you never know, Mike. I mean, we hear so much about the Bermuda Triangle, how boats, ships.
Well, they mentioned a boat
stuff.
go missing there, so we can presume it may be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who knows? Anyway, he hitches a ride on the bottom of the plane.
Wait, we forgot. He gets.
Are we
they
going to
then.
finish this today?
I will. Eventually, Drax gets his people together and he tells the policeman to look out for the Phantom. He's armed and considered very dangerous. And
suspicious, running around in leotards. There you go.
yes, while they're getting into their cars and getting a police escort, yada yada yada, the Phantom is on the run from the police and riding a horse, a stolen horse.
He steals a police horse, jumps on it, goes riding through the traffic, yada yada
Yeah,
yada.
he then
gets down to the docks there where the boat is.
At first,
Yeah.
off, the Phantom goes into the New York Zoo, and the policemen were trying to go into a cage, but as it turns out, it has a tiger in there, and luckily enough, the tiger doesn't harm the Phantom.
But he scared the crap out of the two police guys.
Yeah. Eventually, he then meets up with the taxi driver. Before he met up with him earlier, and he was freaked out. But then he eventually reveals he's a friend of Kit Walker, and he kind of was offers the Phantom a lift in this one.
He did.
And in this scene, he's talking about the driver tells him about how he is on his police scanner. I think it was.
Yeah, that's police scanner or something.
Yeah, and knows exactly where Drax and his people are going.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where Kit's dad comes into the picture again.
He appears about a taxi, caught the kid again. Yeah.
Kit then reveals to his dad that he notices that Quill has a gun belt that's similar to his dad's, and he says, "Is it yours?" All that stuff. And this is where his dad says, "Yes." He kind of was going to show me a secret location of the
Something wrong.
yeah, and he kind of saved his life at one point. But when he was trying to lead him through the jungle, he then took out a blade and stabbed
through the back.
Literally.
Yeah. He literally stabbed him back. What? You can't. Yeah. You can't trust anybody, can you? Yeah.
And of course, Kit says he's going to retrieve his gun belt and hopefully put the past behind him with this. Anyway, moving
they
right
go to the island.
They eventually arrive at the plane, and the Phantom jumps onto
the pontoon on the bottom.
Yeah, and they start heading off down to the place.
I don't know what his leotards are made of. And Martin must have been cold. I mean, flying up there, the wind chill factor, wet leotards. They would get a chill, would be chafing, you know.
Move on.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
So
move on. Yeah.
anyway, our Phantom They soon arrive at the Devil's Vortex, and Drax mentioned earlier that there must be an uncharted island there,
And lo
which
and behold,
it was. And
Gilligan's Island. There you yeah, sorry.
I go there.
Not Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, and so
Hey, shake it, Marianne. Hey. Sorry.
yeah, soon enough, they arrive on the island, and they then take a little small canoe or
rubber
raft,
yeah.
sorry, and they head inside the cave itself, and Drax goes on about how that he can feel that he's getting close to the power of stuff.
And all these pirates come out.
Yeah, and
The
Quill,
Sing Brotherhood.
yeah, the Quill shows them his tattoo on his wrist, and that allows him, to get moving and all that stuff.
This is where we find the Sing Brotherhood there, led by the great Kabai Sang, played by Kari Hiroyuki, whatever, Tagawa. And then they take kindly to strangers come into their place.
Yes, Drax introduced himself saying that he wants the skull and all that stuff, and
He wants to take a partner. Yeah, he's trying to negotiate his
he
way
tries
through it.
to negotiate. But while he may be able to negotiate with mobsters and stuff like
where
that,
money makes
makes money. But these pirates don't see it that way.
they don't care.
These guys are all they're all
Quill
minds.
has a tattoo. He's part of the Brotherhood.
Yeah, somehow the tattoo doesn't win him any favors either.
Not too many, no.
Yeah, he says, "I once killed the Phantom," and the pirate leader says, "Join the club." Everyone has been killing him over the years, and he keeps coming back.
Yeah.
And then Drax, realizing he's got no more cards in his hands, he then deals his final card by saying that Diana was the Phantom's girlfriend.
Oh, that helps a bit, doesn't it?
Oh, actually, he doesn't say it in those words. He says, both Diana and Sal are standing side by side, and he just points directly at both of them. He doesn't even...
He points to Diana.
I know that, but...
They knew
he
which
didn't,
one it was.
I know, but he just says she's his girlfriend, all that stuff. That doesn't seem really good.
And the pirate guy says, you've got good taste.
And he then... And Drax goes on about
nice
how... Just think about it. Ransom, fate, revenge, all that stuff.
Yeah, all good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But then the Phantom arrives, and then we get this huge, awesome fight scene dealing with swords and guns
And then
stuff.
we find the real power of the skulls comes to play when the three skulls get united.
Yeah. Well, before we get to that, eventually, the Phantom then kills the head pirate, and before he could kill him, he said he knows his secret, meaning he knows.
There's a fourth skull.
No, I meant. Yeah, he mentions about the fourth skull earlier because...
And no one knew about the fourth skull.
Yeah, it seems that...
And actually, didn't the pirate guy mention about a fourth skull to control the other three?
Yeah, see, the fourth skull controls the other three. And it was probably never recorded because it was not important.
Well, it was.
Or maybe it's...
It wasn't recorded because it was important. They wanted to hide the control. And like the Lord of the Rings, a ring to control all the rings, well, this skull... can't control the other skulls.
Yes, and anyway, moving on. So eventually, the pirate leader fights the Phantom, and he also reveals that he knows the Phantom's secret. But before he even reveals it, he then tries to plunge the sword into the Phantom, but he misses and falls into the water.
There's a couple of friendly sharks, and they gobble him up. Yeah. What a shame.
Yeah. Then the Phantom and Sala and Diana, they head off into another part to the cave, where it shows a lot of torpedo tubes that probably were from those stolen ships.
Whatever he is, yeah.
And he plans on shooting them away
they had some like little mini sub with some torpedoes or something strapped to it, and he sent them off in the right direction away from the island.
Yeah, while he's doing this, he was just checking to see if it's all clear.
Yeah, they
from
had
the
some
top,
like a
from the top.
periscope there, yeah.
But as he's doing this, Quill appears behind him and he whacks him a couple times.
Whack, 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 whack,
and
whack.
plans on taking out his what do they call that knife that can just zips out?
A flick knife.
Yeah, he takes out his flick knife and he says, I already killed you. But then the Phantom turns the tables and says, you killed my father, revealing the truth and stuff like that.
Oops.
And while this is happening, the golden skull and all three skulls are united and they start acting powerful. And Drax is like...
And it's like a lot of times like a laser beam's coming out of it.
And while this is happening, the Phantom grabs Quill's the gun belt from Quill's waist. And while this is happening, Quill yells for Drax, but then...
Well, Drax turns around for the skulls and zaps Quill, and he just evaporates.
Yeah, practically.
Whoa, that's like all power.
Yeah, and Drax mocks, saying, "Who needs a fourth skull?" And then the Phantom reveals, "I do, and I know where it is."
It's on his hand.
Yeah.
The ring is the fourth
He
skull.
never knew, he then remarks, "I had it all my life." For protection. I just didn't know what it was until now.
Yeah.
So eventually, as Drax was about to turn the tables on him by zapping him, the Phantom points his ring finger and
and it was a bit like Luke Skywalker and Palpatine all over again.
Yeah, eventually, thanks to the ring finger, it destroyed not only Drax but all three of the skulls.
Yeah, the skulls got destroyed. Drax got destroyed, and something happened to the island and started to blow up.
Yeah, the island was blowing up and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
so where are the pirates going to live?
Nah, who cares?
Shame.
Anyway,
Shame.
eventually the Phantom grabs onto the torpedo and it heads off out of the danger.
He attached a chain to the back of the torpedo, so while it was taking off, it'll leave something behind it so he can grab onto it to pull him out of there. What a clever Phantom he was.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. So eventually the island starts exploding and there's a bit of eruption, I think.
And it goes boom.
And it destroys the entire island.
Like a mini volcano type thing. Really nice.
And the end. Well, not the end. Eventually, they arrive back at the cave. I don't know when.
Bangalla or somewhere.
Yeah, and this is where the Phantom sits down with Diana and tells her the full truth. Where, in reality, while everyone thinks the Phantom is one individual, it turns out that the Phantom, the true legacy that the Phantom has is that they have descendants. Yeah. Each Phantom's father or son.
And Diana says, "Yes, I know, kid."
It passes on from father to his children.
Diana figures it out.
I was going to say children because unlike in this movie where it says it has to pass down from father to son, in other versions they indicate
there has been a female.
There's a female version of Phantom out there too.
Very nice.
Sometimes.
But anyway, but since he knew, even before he revealed his identity to us, he called him Kit because he figured out who he was.
Yeah, well...
Wasn't he a clever little Diana?
Yeah, anyway, the Phantom eventually puts his dad's gun belt on one of the...
the gravestone where he's interred in the cave.
Yeah, and his father says how much he likes Diana and that he should
You let him get away, but he didn't get away because we know. I read the comics. He married her later on and had a child.
And then it reveals in the scene where as Kit removes his mask to Diana for this in this scene. He reveals that the only other person he is allowed to reveal as many secrets as he possibly has is to the woman he tends to marry, and he hopes will be one day Diana. But he doesn't say that yet. She just says her goodbyes and they kiss, and he gets back on his horse hero.
Hi-ho, Silver, and away.
Yeah, and she heads over to Sala, who's pettering up the new plane.
Yeah, having a spare plane hanging around somewhere. Or everyone has one of those,
Yeah, and his father narrates how, leave it to my son to let the perfect woman to slip right through his fingers, and he marks that Diana knows that she is definitely going to return to the Bangalla jungle sometime later in the future.
Yes.
But till then,
Mrs. Phantom.
she might need some rest after all this excitement. No kidding. Anyway, that's it, the movie.
Because the storyline has gone on so long, I'll keep my bit a bit shorter.
Sorry.
Now, this was an Australian-American production. Some of it was filmed in Australia. Some of it was filmed in Thailand. Now, the thing that got me is, when we see the Thailand footage, we thought, gee, that looks remarkably like the set of the area, the scenery in James Bond, The Man with the Golden Gun. And it was both done in Thailand, as far as we're aware. Same, those hongs there out in the water there.
Yeah.
And some of those, that sort of coastline. So they've actually done the filming in the same area, I believe. So it looks so good.
Another thing I should mention, that Billy Zane had to shave his head so that the phantom cat part, the top part of his, of the cowl, so it can fit over his head. Because most of the time, you may have seen him in interviews where his head's really bald, but I think in the first scenes, his hair is pretty much
normal hair.
For the first the scenes where you don't necessarily need his costume.
He got a number one cut or something rather, so he can put the skull cap on.
Or at least shaved it completely. So it could
Whatever.
fit. Anyway, the rest
moving along. Talking about Billy Zane, did we say? No, we might have mentioned before that he worked out for a year to tone his body up so he can get the right figure for the Phantom. So he built his abs up and everything else. And
another thing I should mention, the Palmer Mansion that was set in this movie, in real life, belongs to the Playboy Mansion owner by Hugh Hefner.
Place,
Kind of nice that you lent
bunny girls running around.
Kind of nice that you lent the house out. That was nice.
No, I didn't. It was only the front of it.
I
You
know.
didn't rent the house, just the front of it.
I know the first
The
few
front yard. No bunny girls. All you girls stay inside today. Now, what else? I don't want to talk too much.
Oh, this is a funny scene I remember hearing about.
What's that?
While not filming, Billy Zane had a habit of running off to buy sushi wearing his Phantom costume.
Oh, Lord. That would really sort of go down well for local storekeepers. However,
it would probably.
They would have known there's a local crowd doing a movie.
They probably are aware.
It's not like when Bug Lugs here, they're doing Pirates of the Caribbean. They did part of the one of the Pirates of the Caribbean films not far from here with what's the who's? It's Johnny Depp was dressed up as Jack Sparrow a lot, and he went to local hospitals dressed as a pirate to entertain the kids and stuff. And
nice.
So he probably went to the shops too to pick up some fish and chips and a burger and
no doubt. I had that similar problem with some people in my film crew. I mean, for my Attack of the Cat.
I don't want to talk too much. I'm just trying to think of some stones going through my crap here.
Can I say something?
No, you've been talking for too long. No, hurry up.
I was going to say that during the movie, I think that, let me see, I think it was actually, let me see. Oh, yeah. They made a TV series in 2019. I mean, not 2019. I mean, I'm sorry, guys. 2009, sorry. And it was a mini series of the Phantom. And
was they good?
I just don't think it was really that. It was too modern. I liked the Phantom wearing the hose instead of something that makes him look too much.
Too upmarket.
Too upmarket because you don't know the identity, and again, it doesn't bring out the Phantom.
Actually, here's something too. Before I go. When they came back to Australia to do the filming, they went to the Village Roadshow Studios in Brisbane, and they used a couple of stages there. One of them had the Pirates Cave in there, I believe.
Cool.
And that was one of the biggest sets they've ever made, because they had the water there and different rooms and stuff and buildings. That was a huge set. They made up one sound stage, and I think they made another one. They might have made one there for the Skull Cave as well, because that had little rooms there and everything. And I think another one there for the office.
Cool.
They had in the other area. So they did all that filming here in Australia in 3 different sound stages at the same time.
Right.
But anyway, oh no, I won't say irrespective. I keep saying it.
Sorry, guys.
Moving right along, folks. I'm not going to say any more. All I'm going to say is it's a pretty good movie, and the critics liked it.
Sweet.
Now, again, it gets on to, I don't know, about most of them gave the good rap.
Goody.
And I just cannot understand, a medium to good rap, yeah. I can't understand why it didn't box office properly. And I think, gut feeling, it's probably, if you want to take it as a light-hearted comedy action,
Yeah.
it wasn't enough comedy in it. And if you're looking for a real action thing with no comedy, there wasn't enough action in it. I think it was sitting in the middle there somewhere. I don't think it actually didn't make it either way. It was going down the middle.
I thought it was pretty good, especially
I liked the movie.
especially like the locations they shot.
Yeah, I know, but I think that's probably one of the things we might take away from it, where it wasn't a full-on action movie. And it wasn't a comedy action movie. It was in the middle there somewhere. It wasn't quite one or the other. And that might have pulled it back a bit.
True.
Because apart from that, it's a fine movie. The sets are great. The location shoots are good.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And they did camp up the ante a bit because it's supposed to be
1930s.
1930, and a take off of the comic book. And they did it that way, intentionally.
I like that period type stuff. I especially like
the Dick Tracy movie, Foreign Beatty. That was a bit ridiculous and weird humour and a few things, but it worked better.
Yeah, one day I'll do a review on that one.
Yeah, might do, yeah. But I think this one here might have lost its way a little bit and say, is it going to be funny? Is it going to be serious? If it's going to be serious, it should have been more action in it. If it's going to be funny, it should have been a bit more comedy in it.
Yeah.
Maybe. Or maybe they deleted a few scenes. Or they change a few things around on the script. I don't know, but I like it. It's a good watch, good fun movie. It's not a serious action movie. It's just a superhero movie. And if you guys want to relive the Phantom, it's a good telling of the story.
Yeah, and it's a good watch for your younger kids.
Yeah, introduce them to the Phantom and buy them a box load of Phantom comics, and you'll have peace and quiet for days and days and days. Just like being in the Bangalla jungles.
I go admit,
so quiet.
I did like the shots they shot in Thailand. It looks so beautiful and picturesque.
I must get up there for a whole day one day. Yeah, it looks so nice. Yeah, actually, my brother lives in Thailand up the backwoods somewhere, about 150 kilometres out of Bangkok somewhere, but I don't know exactly where. And it's highly unlikely I'm going to go up there to visit him. I don't care about seeing him, but Thailand looks like a nice place.
Yeah, well, the place they shot it in is an ideal spot.
Getting on to last things here. It is available for sale on eBay and Amazon. You can rent or buy it. Now, I don't know how many copies are available on the site, so if you want to have a look at it, buy it, or go to your local hire shop and hire a copy, whatever. It's a good, fun movie.
And I did like Catherine Zeta-Jones' role. I like it that she turns into a good guy.
Yeah, she swaps sides in the end, says that girl's got to keep together or something or other, or
I think
some throwaway line.
I think she started noticing that Drax is not
apart.
really
He's an idiot.
Great.
She made a mistake. She backed the wrong horse. Anyway, I am going to give you my grading now. I'm going to give it 9. Yeah, 9. Yeah.
I'm going to give it 10 out of 10.
Yeah, okay.
Because I enjoyed it as a child, and when I was a little kid, I didn't exactly read a lot of comics, but I read a few.
Of these ones.
Just to get me to know the character, but not to make me into one of those fans out there who just take it like religion. Yeah.
No, I only dropped it down a little bit for that 1%, only because by 1 point, because I think it didn't make a decision what it wanted to be. A little bit like Demolition Man. Demolition Man, they didn't know whether to make it a serious action movie or a comedy, and it sort of fell somewhere in between. And that's where they'd let themselves down, I think. So anyway, I won't say irrespective.
I'm a word out of you.
It just rolls off my tongue. Moving right along, and that's going to be my new one, is it? Okay.
Yeah,
I'll find another word. Well, without further ado, that's not too bad, hey. I think we should wrap it now because it's getting a bit long in the tooth here.
Yeah,
So.
sorry guys. I mean, I get wrapped up in such good storytelling in this movie.
You do.
It's because it's just wonderful,
fun.
and I like the acting chemistries, especially when you're dealing with actors who are total
But
assholes.
do you need to say the Phantom went to the toilet and came out, washed
You
his
said
hands?
that, I didn't.
Oh, okay, whatever. One of us
But
did.
I
Yeah.
did think it was enjoyable, the part with Diana's clingy ass of a mire.
Yes. There wasn't too much social distancing there, was there?
He was practically drooling into her cappuccino.
Anyway, let's roll. Let's wrap it now.
Yeah, he reminds
before
me
we
of
start talking
he
more.
reminds me of a character I seen in a cartoon who was always acting all trying to act all cool and stuff.
Who's
but
that? Who's that?
Oh, no one you may know, Mike. I mean,
Pepe Le Pew. Oh, I know
no,
Pepe.
no,
sorry.
just someone that you just don't know. I mean, I know
I
for a
like
fact
Pepe Le Pew.
he's very droopy and he thinks he's all God's gift to women, stuff like that. That's not
Sounds
really
like me. I used to think I was good, God's gift to women,
No,
and I
go
found out
there.
I was just a pain in the neck.
Anyway, so back to this. So this is about it for us tonight. So thanks for watching this latest episode. I hope you guys enjoy it, and we'll see you guys for the next one. All right, bye for now.
Bye, guys. See ya.